Welcome to the Hemlock State Explorer. Today we are in Dauphin County in the beautiful Clarks Valley region in search of the historic Victoria Iron Furnace ruins. It's a beautiful fall morning and I'm just going to pan around and you can see the mountain behind us. We are nearly in peak foliage color. And what you see before you is Clarks Creek. To find Victoria Iron Furnace, we're not going to cross the creek, but we're going to stay on this side and take this fisherman's path along the north side of the creek. We parked in the Victoria Trail parking lot on Clarks Valley Road, Route 325, about 600 feet further east, and then followed the road to a gravel state gainlands road across the street and walked about 1/10 of a mile. Let me just pause here. Here's some rose hips in full ripeness. We'll take a bite of these. Seedy but very sweet. The minimal amount of pulp is very sweet, but you do want to spit out the seeds. There, one more to get out. Just be certain of what you're picking at before you start snacking. And as you can see in the dying grass, there's somewhat of a trail. You have to keep your eyes open, and Clarks Creek is curving right now, and there are a number of side trails, so we're doing our best just to follow the creek. The Victoria Iron Furnace ruins should be about 3/10 of a mile. But oh wow, what a treat. Just look at that foliage and the golden sun shining through. Wow, even if we didn't find anything, this would still be a very pleasant and glorious morning hike. As the trail is just about to curve down an embankment, I caught a glimpse of the furnace through the trees. I've never been here before, and the path here wasn't clearly marked. We were just figuring it out as we went, and there you see it. Oh wow, that is so cool, and a relic of our industrial history right before us. Just think how this contributed to the birth and development of our great nation, and this is much more well preserved and even larger than I expected. Let's go take a closer look. A very well intact retaining wall. We have I'm not quite sure what that is, that stone pit. Looks like holes in the retaining wall as if some beams were lodged in there. Here's where the crucible would have been, where the actual melting of the iron ore would have taken place. We'll be very careful as we go inside here. It's crumbling. We'll climb up in here. Wow, this is so cool. Okay, be very careful. Wow. And there you go. You can see right up the top of the stack. We traveled a path up the embankment to the back side of the furnace, but there's really not much to write home about on account of all the weeds. And you can see as we look to the top, there are a lot of trees growing out of the structure. So unfortunately, this structure, like all things, is not long for this world. This will sooner or later be a pile of rubble. But I'm glad we were able to visit it now. Especially, it just looks so good. You look at the masonry and the craftsmanship that went into building this. So this land was developed by a man named Andrew Carden. He built 2 iron forges here, one in 1829 and the other in 1830. Then by 1836, he had constructed this iron furnace, and the complex became known as Victoria Iron Works. Unfortunately, the complex was not in operation for long. It closed in 1845 due to a collapse in the iron market, and with falling iron prices, it simply was no longer profitable to continue operation of this magnificent piece of American history. It's interesting to consider that in the 1830s, when this was built, this would have been high tech for the day. So what did this iron furnace do and how did it work? Well, there are 4 components needed to make iron. 1 is the iron ore itself. 2 would be a fuel source, in this case charcoal, which would have come from the forests in the area. 3 would be limestone for what is called flux, and that's used to draw out the impurities out of the iron ore. And then 4, if I just pause for a moment, stop rustling leaves. There, you hear that behind us? Clark's Creek. So that would have provided the water power, which would have driven a bellows or an air tub to blast air into the furnace for combustion. And this reached over 3,000 degrees. So if I pan to the right, you'll see that retaining wall. And like I mentioned, these furnaces were always built against the sides of hills, and there would have been a ramp in this bridging that retaining wall with the top of the furnace. Workers called fillers would haul carts full of iron ore, charcoal, and limestone and dump them into the charging port at the top of the furnace, and then there would be a combustion of the, oh, there's a narrow view. Okay, so yeah, you see the gap that the workers would have crossed over a ramp. Right there, there would have been a combustion of the charcoal and heating the furnace to melt the iron out of the iron ore, and it would be tapped out of the bottom of the furnace periodically. And by tapped, I mean a little clay plug at the bottom of the furnace would be removed. The molten iron would have flowed out of the bottom of the furnace into a sand trough dug in the ground. And that trough would be in the shape of a main branch with a bunch of side branches, and it was called pig iron because it looked like a bunch of little baby piglets suckling at the mother sow off of each side. Workers called molders would also come to these troughs with ladles and ladle in the molten iron into forms to make whatever cast iron thing they wanted to make, whether it be utensils or stove plates. And that's how these iron furnaces worked, very briefly. I'm thankful for the opportunity to visit this relic of our nation's proud history, and also a testimony to the ingenuity of the Imago Dei. And we hope you can get out here too while it still stands, and we'd like to help you do that. So check out hemlockstateexplorer.com, where you'll find coordinates, instructions how to get here, and everything else that you need to know before you go. And until next time, we can't wait to see you on the next adventure.